So as you've seen in two of my previous videos, I now have my Jeep fully gutted. I was originally planning on trying to fit a hammock in there in order to do a little overlanding. I decided to go with a different option, and I'm now going to build a platform from scratch with 2 boards of OSB and some 2x4 I have laying around. So this video is going to highlight the build process and what I actually decide to do. I haven't entirely figured it out. I have a good general idea, but I will try to be as detailed as possible and videotape as much of it as I can and go over explaining what I'm doing, just so then if anyone else wants to mimic this, they have, you know, a good detailed video about it. All right, so I'm starting on the frame of the Jeep. I got the carpet all taken out of the back and I cleared out everything. Ended up having these 2x4 blocks that I used to prop this open on a windy day so it doesn't come down. I ended up taking the seatbelt out, the back seat seatbelts out. For those of you that have the back seat, you know, it's just one bolt that holds it in and, you know, the little attachment. This little piece that comes out of it, it is I believe a T50 or a T47, kind of like that screw for the seat. Same size, same exact thing, pretty much, a little smaller. With that in mind, the bolt I used a 7/16 fine, about an extra inch on it before the thread, obviously, to equate for the length of the 2x4. I got some washers just in case, but I ended up using one just to make it easier and maybe give it a little more stability, but you probably don't need them. These grooves too that are in place, the 2x4 fits perfectly in the grooves, so it makes it a lot easier for it to kind of sit in there, and with it only being one screw. I thought at first I might need 2, but where I put it, it was pretty much in the middle. And how I mount it with everything else on top, it'll work itself out. But yeah, I mean, I got this all done. I can really wail on that and nothing moves, so I'm really happy about that. That actually turned out good because that's going to be my main middle support bracket for when I do the platform across, but I'll get to that in a later video. For now, my next project, I gotta cut this board in half, about 12.5 inches, I think. I gotta look at my measurements, but it's gonna sit like this. Then I'll sit like this, the other half of it, and then that's gonna be what's gonna eventually drill to the OSB. But like I said, I'll shoot that in a later video. Gotta get a new battery for this. Yeah, that's... All right. Got the 2 holes done. Lines up. The 2 front bolts for the what's that? What am I thinking of? The support for my feet. When I add that section, it's in the front 2 socket spots where the seat goes for the front seat. Now they were, I think it was like a 5/16 or a 3/8 bolt, so I'm pretty sure I mimicked that, and they're fine treaded counts as well, but maybe 2 turns, 1, 2, maybe at best. I'm just hoping it's doesn't screw something up. I'm gonna actually tighten it down now with the socket wrench. When I was removing these originally, the whole area in there was rusted out, so I guess I could care less, but it would just make it that much more easier. And I'm probably gonna get new bolts anyways, so I guess There's about this much space. It's still pretty tight, so I don't know. I might just say screw it. Get them as tight as I can, because it's still gonna do what I need it to do. It's a little sloppy having these hang out, but whatever. Like I said, these were the holes that they came in. Look at that. This one's still stuck in there. This is that other one. They're rusted to shit, so I'm hoping that it's just that. Not that I'm re-threading it or anything like that, because that would definitely suck if that was the case and I was re-threading it. Then that'd just make another issue when and if I ever go to put the front seat back in. But I suppose I just have to make sure I remember what bolts I used and match those. Most of it done now. This thing, brackets solid. Both the screws are in there. I'll try to get this light. You can see the 2 screws. They actually went in a lot better after I got further down. I'm thinking it's because the holes that I bored out weren't big enough for it, so I had to kind of push it through and force it through. Because on the other one, right up here, I had bored it through with a bigger bit to kind of help, and it seemed like it went in a lot easier. So I'm hoping that it didn't strip, and that was the reasoning. Something I don't see a lot of people do is they kind of show the afterwards. They don't really show the parts in between, and you know, all the issues that they might have. And, oh yeah, there's this little stopper on the front support mount, which is kind of nice. It was able to line up a 2x4 perfectly, like I said, with those 2 front bolts for the seat. It worked out really good. Measure out 57 by 32, and then gotta cut the slits for the seat belt or the roll bars in the back. All right, I got the links. 57 by 32 is what was measured out. 57, 32. Right there, I gotta cut out the slots for the roll cage bar. And I'm gonna do it right there. Other than that, it should be hopefully getting placed in there today, and then tomorrow I just work on the support frames. All right, well, I got the board cut out, and with the help of Garrett, I got it set in here. We had to trim a little bit off because it wasn't quite fitting, but I forgot that I could lift these up. You can get another inch or so of space under here with these seatbelt brackets, but trimmed it up a little bit and it smoothed it out, so I'm happy with that. It's got a little more of a gap here, but it still has a decent support, so it should be good. What do you think, Rush? Yeah. So pretty much, I'm gonna measure out the support brackets tomorrow, and then after that, I'm gonna drill everything on in the back, get that all squared up, and then start working on the front part. That shouldn't take too long. I should be able to get that done tomorrow too. We had to take the top off. Made it a lot easier to get it on, otherwise we probably would have had issues. Even right now, without the support, it looks like it can support, you know, a decent amount. All right, so I got this back piece put on, and I have this little cutout for the front. See the little area. I cut it out for the shift knob and the e-brake right up here. Show you in a sec on another video what it'll look like. I'm about to mount it, but anyways, what I'm working with right here is I have this bracket that's bolted to the front seat, 2 mounts, and then I was gonna do 2 supports, but I realized for your leg probably only need 1, and instead I'm gonna put one kind of back up here where both of the boards, because it's 2 pieces, and I was gonna just use one of these boards underneath them and just drill to connect them, but then I realized there's gonna be support up here, there's gonna be support back there with the mounts, but where they go to meet, that would have a lot of like stress on it. So I figured that's probably a spot that needs, even if the board's just there, it doesn't really have to be mounted, just like almost like a kickstand, just so when it starts to go down a teeny bit, it'll catch right away. So I'm gonna try to stick something under there just to have it, because then it should be solid everywhere. I mean, I don't plan on ever sitting right up here, but if I did, this one piece alone should. Okay, so here's pretty much what it looks like now. I gotta still attach it to these, but otherwise I got this attached. I decided to just use one. I was gonna use two on each side, but I think one is a lot solider. And then it allowed me to use the other one right here. And maybe this thing can focus, sorry. But then I use this little bracket, connects the two boards, this thing does, and then it's kind of like a kickstand. So where the two boards connect, I'm gonna have this, and again, I still have to screw this together, but I'm gonna have this as a support where the two boards come together, because I think that should be good. And I still gotta screw this part down, but the only thing I'm wishing is I would have left a little bit more. I could have went out a couple more inches here to give a little more leg room for my legs when I'm fanned out, or even, you know, some more shit or some more space to set stuff on. This pipe insulation, it was like $1.50, and it's nice because it's perfect fit for, it sits right here. That way you don't have those rough edges. Most of the bigger boards cut a few days ago. This little guy was kind of interesting. Definitely had a lot of measurements there. And then this little piece right here, which I pretty much used just as a brace for the two supports. Where it'll go, it still has all the room for the shifter. That's good. I can still use the e-brake. My e-brake really doesn't do much besides just keep the car still, so if it was an emergency, I would just downshift or use my actual brakes anyways, so, but it can still be used, it's just not going to be as quick. This is the wedge that I used. I used one right here, and then one in the front by the e-brake, and that's what's given that that bracer board, or the wall board, whatever you want to call it, that's giving it extra support. Lucky for me, it ended up making it kind of as another support now, that whole thing, so when I sit, any give, I should say, in the board over there. Only screw that stripped right here, but luckily it's pretty much in all the way, so I'm just gonna not worry about it. I put this nice pipe fit, or pipe insulation here, as you can see it works pretty good. And then you're not screwing around with the edges too much. I'm gonna put some on the other front piece so it doesn't, just in case something was to rub on it, wouldn't screw up the plastic. So I got these on now. Put it all the way up to here. It's just pipe insulation. I use these zip ties, drilled a hole through. Got a nice corner thing. Believe it or not, my shifter does work all the gears do work. I gotta find something for here. I got this backboard, so I don't know if this will work. I got one back there. As of this, I vacuumed everything out under here. If you want to look at what it looks like underneath, gotta take these zip ties out. Got this little board back here just to help stabilize and like that. So the last touch I'm gonna do, I went on Craigslist and Lord behold it, found a piece of carpet remnant and they were giving it away for free. Just so happens to be, I believe it's 6 by 8 or 77 by 54 inches or whatever, but it's gonna fit the back just right. I just gotta get it cut up and then I'm gonna use some screws to screw it on there to hold it in because I don't have carpet tacks. Hopefully that'll work. Well, I got the piece all cut out and I got it in there nice. Not 100% even, but you know, for using this crappy dull tool, I didn't have a knife, or I did, but the blade was dull and I didn't want to go get a new one. Still got to cut a little bit of the edges out over there, but other than that, she went on pretty good. I will say I'm actually rather impressed that it ended up fitting all in one solid piece. I was gonna section it and do just the back and then the front, but I'm kind of glad I didn't because I'm not sure if it's just how it's cut in here or if it's just because it is one piece, but I was walking on there and I was trying to slide it and it barely moved. These noodles I put kind of stop it from moving too much, not to mention like the pole cutouts and everything. So I folded this all over instead of just coming to the edge because I didn't have a noodle right here that would work because of this thing behind it. I couldn't do the zip tie trick. So I'm just gonna probably sink a couple of screws or something just so it's not so flabby. But it actually works out a lot better than having the noodles because when you're shifting, your arm's gonna sit like this and then you won't have to feel this shit right here. So there. But with that being said, I think we're pretty much done here. Get one last final look here. I'm just kneeling on it right now. It took probably about 4 days total. 4 to 5 hours each day. A lot of it was just thinking about stuff. Probably half of that was actual work spent on it. But if you guys have any questions on how I did this, feel free to comment below. I'll try to get back to you. Otherwise, my next video should be when I'm on the road actually testing it. We're all done. Thanks for watching. I had to stop working on the Jeep for a little bit to get some authentic street tacos, courtesy of Garrett.